Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy to have you with us on a new episode of the American Mailbag alongside Andy Gresh. I'm Haley Outen. Week 1 of the college football season is officially in the books, and we have a lot to get to today. And first and foremost, we want to thank fans at home for submitting their questions on Twitter and Instagram to us this week. So, Andy, let's hit you with the hard one.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. First up, Nicholas Milton, a Tulane fan. He's excited that his team handed FIU that Thursday night loss. They now face an SEC opponent this week. If the Wave want to shock the world on Saturday night, what must Tulane do to beat Auburn?
Well, they need to possess the football, Haley. And the one thing that I loved about Tulane and Justin McMillan and the way their operation went over the weekend is that they were able to score, they were able to hold on to the ball. And I think, look, you got to keep your defense off the field as much as possible against an opponent who is another group of 6 opponent, or the power 6 opponent, I guess I should say, in terms of playing Auburn. But keep them off the field, force them to have to try to score 35 points in 22 minutes. If Tulane can hold the ball and possess it for 38 minutes, they're going to have a great chance to pull the upset.
All right, Tulane fans are fired up because kind of a similar question from Drew Madre. He wants to know, what will the Green Wave need to do Saturday night against Auburn to show college football that they mean business?
Okay, now this is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but they don't have to win the game. What they have to do is be in the game and force Auburn to have to play the full 60 minutes. And then it's sort of the flag in the ground. Hey, look at what we've built. We can hang with an SEC team. And I think Tulane, look, people have a lot of reason to be excited around the Green Wave. Let's be honest. I think they found their quarterback. They're scoring points. You could see it starting to kind of come together for Willie Fritz. But if they lose by 3 or 7 in this game, and it's a game all the way through, that's going to let the college football world know that Tulane is here.
All right, last Tulane question. This is from Tulane Football Buzz. After Tulane's game on Thursday, in parentheses, we know it's just one game. Do you see us being a true contender for the conference title?
You know, they're in the mix. I think let's see what happens here against Auburn. Let's see what they can do against a big boy and a power in college football. But look, I think the West is probably much more wide open than maybe we envisioned. I wasn't necessarily disappointed with Houston against Oklahoma, but I understand, you know, some of the flaws were exposed a little bit with their youth up front. And hey, if you can score and hold on to the football, if you can find a way to score 30 and hold it for 35 minutes, you're in really good shape nowadays in the world of college football.
All right, let's talk USF. The Bulls struggled in their season opener on Friday night, and Hector Jimenez, he wants to know, is week 2 going to be the real tell? Because Wisconsin can do that to teams due to their size and their talent, or are the Bulls maybe in for a rough year?
I think the Bulls right now are in a big transition. And, you know, we talked about it last week on the American Huddle that USF, they start 7-0, then they lose 6 in a row, and they played a lot of young kids on defense last year, and there were a lot of mistakes, and how would that carry over? I thought the Wisconsin game got tilted too early, took USF out of whatever sort of offense they wanted to run. Then they couldn't convert on 3rd down, had multiple issues, and then it just kind of got away from them. I don't think what USF showed is necessarily indicative of what they'll be, but it is indicative of who they are right now, and they've got to find a way to get incrementally better on defense, and they need those young guys to just kind of click and get better all at the same time.
All right, talking Tulsa, Doug S. on Twitter. He wasn't too happy with his team's start on Friday night, but he wants to know how much of this was first game issues against Michigan State, and can Philip Montgomery get this turned around?
You know, I saw Doug's sort of tweet to us, right? And some of the language that he used was pretty interesting, considering Tulsa went on the road and held a Big Ten team to 1 offensive touchdown. Yeah, they kicked field goals, and yeah, Sparty moved the ball on them a little bit. But let's remember, you had turnovers, you had, you know, fumbles in the end zone that were going the other direction. There were a lot of things that, to me, can be cleaned up. Ball handling issues can be cleaned up. But what they did defensively, I thought was kind of impressive again. And they forced Michigan State into some mistakes. So I know Doug had a very negative view of it when he sent us the tweet. But to me, there's a lot to take out of there that you can feel good about from Tulsa moving forward.
All right, our friends on Instagram had a couple of questions as well. And this is from the AAC Central fan page. They want to know, Andy, who do you think made the biggest statement this weekend in the American?
Woo! Wow, I would say Tulane, just because of the way they won the game, the way they were able to hold on to the football, the performance of Justin McMillan. You know, we had a lot of green, as shown in this segment, by the way, there were a lot of Green Wave people who were riding the wave of that victory. And to me, it was Tulane. I would also go with Cincinnati. Here's the thing about Cincinnati is that they beat UCLA last year. And in my opinion, top to bottom, the American is better than the Pac-12 right now. The Pac-12 may have name brands that people go gaga over, but, you know, there's a couple of situations there where those two California schools are really struggling. You got Leach up in the Pacific Northwest doing his crazy thing, and that's fine. But to me, top to bottom, the American's better than the Pac-12. So I almost expected Cincinnati to play well against UCLA, but Tulane jumped out.
All right, moving on to our final question. This one comes from Will Sports. That's sports with a Z, by the way.
Okay.
All right, so they want to know, I can't wait to get your take on this.
Oh, boy.
So the commissioner, Mike Oresco, has pushed for this Power 6 campaign. Teams across this league have had success. P6, we've heard it the past few seasons, and they want to know, what will it take for the American to be taken seriously as a power conference?
Unfortunately, it's going to have to take a shift from the people with the College Football Playoff Committee, because the media who covers the American, I think a lot of them, you know, like our buddy Ralph Russo in New York City, he's in the area and in the region enough to be able to truly understand how the American has grown. I think to the average college football fan or college football writer, it's, well, they're on the outside looking in because they're not involved directly in that college football playoff, when in reality they kind of are. You have a great team. UCF may have the ability in multiple years to have sort of crashed that party, but you got to get the respect from the media, and you got to get the respect in the rankings, and the media helps control the rankings. So at the end of the day, to get the seismic shift, to get the media on board when they sort of expand this college football playoff, which eventually they'll do because there's too much money to be made all the way around, and the American has a seat at the table, which they should, then everyone will change their perceptions, which they should be doing right now if they actually open their eyes and saw what's happening on the field.
All right, well, there you have it. Thanks to all of you at home for submitting your questions to this week's mailbag. Remember, you can use the hashtag AskAndyFB on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure to join us on Thursday night for an all-new episode of The American Huddle. We'll see you then.